Okay, everybody, welcome to Unit 7, Module 4. We're going to head on into Session 1. For Session 1 today, you're going to do a checkpoint. You just are going to do a little test on how to use powers of 10. You'll be able to find that located in your seesaw. If you don't have it, your teacher will get it to you in some way or another. We're also going to investigate building a deck, right? And a deck is a rectangle or a square. It's definitely a quadrilateral. So we're going to need you to have your student book page 291. There are options for you to play quotient raised to 100 or roll 5 when you're done. And when everything is completed, work on page 292 in your student book. So last lesson, I told you that we would take a look at page 289. Right, yeah, 289. We did these problems together in our lesson, but if you did not and you did them again, here are the answers to numbers 1 and number 2, and then please feel free to check your answers over multiplying or just doing the multiplying of decimals for number 3. All right, you had your homework. Now your homework was this: multiplying two decimal numbers together, just using an array method, right? All pretty easy. You know how to do this, and adding all of our arrays together to get our answer, or using the standard algorithm. Whatever works best for you, awesome. Great. Here, reviewing large numbers and small numbers. Again, pause the video if you need to check over your answers and make necessary changes. Looks like we're rounding again. We are subtracting. We are just doing all sorts of different things. So hopefully you got everything correct. And if you didn't, reach out to your teacher. They'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. All right, so here's your powers of 10 checkpoint that's going to be located in your seesaw. Please make sure that you answer every question as well as you can, and then submit that so that it can be assessed and graded by your teacher. We're going to be building a deck. All right, so let's take a look at what our problem is here for number 1. It says Ramona, her brother Pablo, and their dad are planning to build a deck in the backyard. It seems pretty easy, right? Here's their plan. They want a 2 meter by 4.7 meter deck. And what we've done is we have set up our array so that we are multiplying these numbers. Okay. It says estimate the area. Well, I'm going to estimate it a little bit. I think that I know 2 times 4 is 8, right? And I know that 0.7 is more than a half, and if I have more than 2 halves, I'm going to say it's going to be somewhere around 9. So then it says copy the sketch and solve, right? So for this first one, maybe what I should do is I should just do this. I should just put that on over there. Oh, look at that. Fancy. All right, this one is 2 times 4, right? It's our array. 2 times 4 is 8. And then I would make another array for over here. And this one is 2 times 0.7. Now, we do know that when we multiply by a decimal, we kind of ignore the decimal for a minute. So I'm going to go 2 times 7, and I know 2 times 7 is 14, right? But 2 times 0.7 is not 14. I have to move my decimal point, right? Powers of 10. If I am multiplying by a decimal, I have to move that decimal 1 space to the left in my answer. So that's 1.4. And for me to get my answer, I have to multiply, or not multiply, add, and that equals 9.4. Pretty good, right? All right, so let's take a look at this next one. So the next one says they discovered that they have a little more space than they thought. So make a deck that's 2.3 meters wide by 2 meters. So go ahead and sketch this or add to your original sketch. And how can we figure that out? Pause the video and come back when you're all done. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make one text box here so that I can do my math problems, right? We already know this is 8 from our previous problem, and we already know that this is 1.4. But how am I going to figure out, how am I going to figure out what the bottom pieces are? This is 0.3 times, I hit enter, 0.3 times 7, nope, times 4. Again, I'm going to look at the math problem that I do know without the decimal. What is 4 times 3? It's 12. And now I need to put my decimal in. How many numbers are behind the decimal in my entire problem? Oh, just one, right? It says 0.3. So I need to make sure that in my answer, I have one number behind my decimal. Okay, awesome. And then over here, this one is 0.3 times 0.7. Well, let's make this a little bigger, huh? And so again, you are going to ask yourself, what math fact do I know or that I'm familiar with? I know 3 times 7. I know that's 21. But now you ask yourself, how many numbers are behind the decimal point? Well, in my whole problem, well, I have one here and I have one here. So because I have two numbers, I need to have two numbers behind my decimal point in my problem. All right, so now we have to add 8 plus 1.4, which we had already gotten is 9.4, right? And then I need to add 1.2, which equals 10.6. Everybody following along? And then I got to take that 10.6 and I have to add 0.21, which then equals 10.81. 10.81 square meters, or meters squared. Good. Did you get that for your answer? I hope so. All right. So now let's take a look at this one. The neighbors down the street from Ramona's family have decided to build a deck in their backyard. Their deck's going to be 1.5 meters and 3.6. Go ahead and pause the video and solve this problem, please. All right, so you apparently have solved this as quickly as you possibly could, and I am going to do this myself as well. This first box is showing me 3 times 1, which was 3. Y'all get that as your answer? Second box is showing me 1 times 0.6. And well, we know that any number times a 1 is itself. So we know that that's 1.6 as my answer. For this next problem, we have 0.5 times 3. What's the math problem you know or you recognize not considering the decimal, which is 3 times 5, right? 3 times 5, did you get 15? Right, but that's not our answer because that's 3 times 5 is 15. 3.3 times 0.5 or a half would be, we have to move the decimal point over one spot because there's one numeral or one number after my decimal in this problem. And then I'll go ahead and then extend my array so that I am multiplying my half by my 6. And what am I getting there? What number do you know? I know, or what math fact do you know? I know 5 times 6. 5 times 6 is 30. And how many numbers are behind my decimal in my problem? 2. So in my answer, 2 numbers have to be behind my decimal. So if I add 3 plus 6, no, 3 plus 1.5 is 4.5, plus 6 is 5.1, and plus 0.3 is 5.4 square meters. Is that what you got? right? 3, 4.5, 5.1, and 5.4. Awesome. Good. All right, so how can I use partial products to figure this out? All right, and this is where things might be a little bit more difficult for you, but you know how to use you know how to use partial products for each one of these, right? Do not consider um, the decimals, right? But if you do, right, what is 0.5 times 0.6? Right? We answered this question. It was 0.30. And then we had 0.5 times 3, which that equaled 1.50. And then we had 1 times 0.6, which equals 0.6. And we had 1 times 3, which equaled 3. And when you add all of that together, which we did already, oops, which we already added all that together, we got ourselves 5.4, right? So use the standard algorithm over here and see if we can get 5.4 for that. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll add our text boxes up here, right? So 5 times 6 is what? 30. And I'm going to carry a 3, right? Because it's standard algorithm. Don't worry about the decimal points right now. We'll add those in later. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 3 is 18. So there you go, 180 for that top. We go down to the second row and we start with a 0. And now we add 1 times 6, which is 6, and 1 times 3, which is 3. We have to add our problems together. Oh, that's a 6. And we add our answers together, right? And we get 540, right? But with 540, that doesn't make sense because that's not what this answer is here, and it's the same problem. So now we go back into our problem. We count how many numbers are behind the decimal. 1, 2. So when we move our decimal point from the end over 2, and we have 5.40. There we go. Easy peasy. All right. That, my friends, was your student book, I believe. Or complete your student book, page 291, right? And let's see if we can get a little secret. There you go. 291 is right there. We're not, if you need to pause the video and go back and check your answers, feel free to do that. But that's page 291. To finish up, go ahead and, if you'd like some extra practice, do your your May number corner online resources or your Unit 7 online resources. And due tomorrow is your student book, page 292. If for any reason you need any of this video repeated, go ahead and rewind and rewatch. If not, contact your teacher if you're having any question. If not, have a great day and enjoy math.